What's going on, everybody? Have a fun one for you today. Kind of a rewarding one, too, actually. There's an Amulet of Power for Varric to be had here, plus 2 of the Mosaic Pieces, which I'm collecting in the Hinterlands. I don't have them all yet. I don't know where they all are, but there's 2 here, so if you're looking for those, you're definitely going to want to come to Valammar. That's where we're headed. Okay, now this is on the south end of the lake. This same little lake where we find our Warden follower. Alright, and basically due west of here is a villa. Now, the villa is where you need to get the key for Valammar. If you don't have the key, you come here and it just says you need a key. Alright, so at the south end of the woods, just there to the west, straight south of the Red Cliff Farms, there will be a boss on the top floor of that villa. Kind of work your way to him. There's a lot of those big two-handed, heavy armor, high health guys that hit really hard and freak out with their big sledgehammers. There's quite a few of them in that villa. And the last one is a boss who has, like, I don't know, 5 times the health as the rest of them. He's pretty ridiculous. Alright, but anyway, we got our key from there earlier, so we were free to roam around and investigate the place.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Alright, we see everything in here is level 10. My character's level 10. I think most of my party is still 9 right now. But that's cool. Close enough. They'll probably level up while we're in here, actually. You know, I'm glad the Carta isn't quite as deadly as they were in Dragon Age 2. I'm glad they toned them down just a little bit. The archers are still brutal, but all archers are brutal in Dragon Age, so, you know, that's not a surprise. But these assassins are a little easier to deal with than those one-shot backstab guys they had in Dragon Age 2. Oh my god. They were the bane of my existence. Because once they went invisible, that's it. One of your party members was going to get taken out, pretty much. Till you got really high level and you could withstand some of the 1,000 points of damage they did with their backstabs. Those guys were just so annoying. These assassins don't hit as hard, but they hit faster, it seems like. They hit more. They don't just look for that one-shot kill. They work away at you and do their spinny thing where they flank you and zip around you and all that kind of stuff. So a little more realistic, I guess. I don't know, it's pretty cool. Gotta love Winter's Grasp. Gotta love it. Alright, I will try to find most, if not all, the loot in here. This place is actually pretty basic. Essentially what we're here to do is investigate the source of the little scheme they had going, why the raiders were there in the woods and trying to keep people essentially away from this place and whatever operation they have going here. I'm going to find some notes, a lot of codexes, and I'll try to pause long enough just to have it on the screen. You can, of course, pause the video and read them in full if you want to check them out. If you've never been here before, you might want to see. If you have been here before and you didn't see all the codexes or didn't bother to stop, then take an opportunity to look through them here. Alright, now that door that was locked down there, that's where I'm eventually going to leave at the very end of this. But we have to work our way all through this place just to finally get to that room, essentially from the other side. Alright, and of course, it's, you know, we're going to have to fight through waves of stuff to get there, right? It's kind of the MO for RPGs. Notice I'm getting 125 points now for these codexes. I've been picking all the extra XP options at the war table for my Inquisitor perks, and it's really adding up. Instead of 50 points, you know, I'm getting more than double XP for a lot of these codexes now, and it's adding up really fast. I'm level 10 here, and I've barely touched the Storm Coast. I'll be heading there to do some stuff next. I've cleared out a good part of the Hinterlands. Still have a few Fade Rifts, some level 12 ones that I'm not going to try to tackle at level 10. They're they're just a little over the top. It's mainly those wraiths with their fireballs that they throw at you. They can 2 and 3 shot me, essentially. Especially when they're a couple levels higher, and so I'll try to wait till I'm a little closer to them. And I still don't know how I'm going to tackle that Hinterlands dragon, the Frostback. Oh man, I banged my head on a previous version of this character. I banged my head against that dragon for about 6 hours. And it's, oh man. Yeah, it just didn't end well. Not for me anyway. Ended fine for the dragon. But, we'll get to that eventually. When I do kick his ass, I'm sure going to make a video of it. And for those of you out there, oh, I beat 20 dragons already. Well, okay. And I did it on Nightmare. Well, you know, kudos to you, because I went in there at level 12 against that level 12 dragon. Of course, I didn't have some of the stuff from some of the main story missions, like permanent stat boosts and things under my belt. I just had my core skills, and that was about it. And very little fire protective gear. But he was one-shotting me, essentially, or two-shotting me with fireballs. And then when you get him bound to about 25% health, he'd bring out the little ones, and the babies would come in and basically rape my mages, which would eventually rape the party, because couldn't bring barrier up and stuff. But it's cool. I mean, I know it's my shortcoming, not, you know, not anything else. So figure out what I was seriously lacking. Like any other RPG, there'll be that wow moment when you realize, you know, what you've been missing all along, and you'll go, oh wow, this would make things a whole lot easier. And then once you figure that one thing out, then it's all good. There's a few key save points here. The room directly behind where I'm at right now. Alright, we see this bridge crossing. This is a darkspawn. Very cool. Our first sighting of the darkspawn in the game, at least for me. But that room right there is where the boss is. And essentially, it's also where the door is to get to that room that we eventually need to get to. It's the loot room of this place, but it's, of course, behind the boss. These guys spawn kind of randomly around here. They'll spawn out of thin air. They'll come crossing the bridge. If you die and reload, there'll be a couple standing right next to you. When they become aware of you, they go, oh, hey, and start shooting you in the face with arrows, you know. So, I think what I'm going to do before I go mess with this Carta guy is there's a way to stop these darkspawn from spawning in here. Alright, Carta guy is right in there. I'm going to go ahead and save right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cross this bridge. Lo and behold, there's another one. And there's basically a hole in the wall that these guys are creeping through, kind of like cockroaches. And so what we'll do is we'll go close that hole up, and then we're free to just deal with the dwarves by themselves. The bad thing is you'll go to try to fight this Carta boss guy, and darkspawn will spawn while you're trying to get rid of them. And it makes it really hard, because they'll start shooting you in the back. They'll start sniping you from the other end of the bridge, and you're busy with the boss. This is, you know, don't have time for all that. So looks like Varric leveled up. So I'll tell you what. Let me go ahead and put a point into something. Anything that adds up to extra damage sounds good to me at this point. Okay, now I'm gonna get lightning bolt. It's useful, but that one down just underneath it, Gathering Storm right there for every basic attack. It drops your cooldowns by a couple seconds. It's really, really handy for everything, including barrier. And then I'm going to set them up with the one where when a barrier is active, your mana and stamina regenerates faster for anyone who has an active barrier. I'm assuming that works for the mage also. And so if Solus can barrier himself and get a 35, I think it's a 35% mana regen boost, then that sounds good to me. So he, because a lot of times you're not waiting on a barrier because of the cooldown, you're waiting on a barrier because his mana's out, because he's been slinging, you know, lightning bolts and icicles all over the battlefield. So if we can keep his mana regen fuller and faster, then sounds good to me. Okay, now the humans and the dwarves aren't the only ones that have these two-handed tank, reaver, whatever you want to call them, freak-out guys. The Darkspawn have them too, and their version is pretty beastly. Alright, and speaking of one, there we go, right there. That's a nice hammer he's got there. Okay, apparently my whole party's just gonna get it straight up in his face. All up in his grill like that there. His four north, south, east, west hits aren't near as bad as that last roundhouse he does at the very end. Oh my god. And he gets me with that all the time. It's like, well, I'm not gonna let him catch me with that again. And the very next time he does it, he of course busts me right in my face. The quicker you can get these guys down, the better, because they'll, each time they do that that directional freakout move, they generate a full health bar of guard, which isn't near as stout as their actual health bar itself. I think more because of their armor, rather than how much health they have. Or it's probably a combination of both, actually. But I know their armor rating's really high. Like if Varric's shooting him with the crossbow, I think Varric's crossbow right now is doing right at 60-ish, something like that, 60-something. And you can see the numbers, if you're playing as Varric, pop up and it'll be like 14 or 15. So he's got a lot of resistance with his armor. So what may seem like just a crap ton of health, I think is more the fact that he just got amazing defense. Everything else. Yeah. Now he gets that full bar of health again. Or guard, whatever you want to call it. I think you'll also notice, like, you know, Solus, I think the higher difficulty, the higher their resistances and defenses and stuff are also. I think that does have something to do with it, but like, Solus' staff, I think, has a basic rating of somewhere in the 40s with his fire staff. I think it's like 42 or 45 or something. But the numbers that are coming off this guy will probably be like 24, 19, you know, numbers like that. So this guy's defenses are just through the roof. Alright. You know, well, he may not be a boss, but he sure acts like one. He was swinging that hammer like a boss, right? Like a boss. Alright, so I have to have a mage to close this up. I don't know if there's another way to close that up without a mage present. I don't know why I wouldn't have a mage in my party, but let's say I came in here without one for, I don't know, some reason. Then I guess possibly that would have to stay open. We'd have to fight the Carta with Darkspawn constantly spawning behind us. That would suck. Wonder if at some point later you could come back here and that door will be open? I have no idea what this game has in wait. And I see areas and spots where they could just include DLCs, like behind that hidden door is a pathway down into the deep roads, and they could do a whole DLC on the deep roads or something. I mean, the world is just wide open for BioWare with this game. All right, here we go. Here's where it gets bad. It's not really the Carta boss himself. He might actually even be a little slower than the guy we just fought. He's a big two-handed guy. Well, I say big. He's only about 3 foot tall. But he's, you know, of course, he has his two-handed weapon, and he has the same moves as your regular Reaver. He's a Dwarven Reaver, Berserker, whatever you want to call him. But he's gonna have, I think, 4 or 5 archers and an assassin going inviso here and there to annoy you while you're trying to take the archers out. See at least 3 archers. Maybe that's all, and that's fine with me. I'd be happy if it was just 1, honestly. But get the archers out first. Bottom line, in this one, if there's some other strategy for this, great. But for me, it's those damn archers. Alright, I'll let the two-handed guy do his thing, even if he takes out a party member or 2. What I need to do is get these adds out of the way. Alright, it looks like the archers are down, so I think, I don't think I'm gonna get wiped now. I can deal with melee characters. probably going to head for my mage, because that's the one that's doing the damage over there. Either my mage or Varric. He doesn't know which way to go. He wants to be aggroed on me, but he's getting shot in the back. You know what? I'll tell you what. He's probably going to take one of them out anyway. So, let me go ahead. Get my tank back up for a second. Now, I've got him set up to where he just spams anything that draws the hate. Challenge and War Cry. And he got his attention off... Well, I was going to say off my mage and Varric. It's not my mage is out of there, but... that skill is eventually going to start generating guard for me. Got him! Alright, well, wasn't a total party wipe. I'll just count that as a win.
They've been watching our movements.
Alright. So they've had those bandits out there harassing us, essentially keeping us away from whatever they're doing here. Okay, now here's the last gear. First one we found in that first room upstairs. That was the second one, and we're going to need that to open this door to get into that last room, the secret loot room or whatever. Apparently the dwarves, you'll see in some of the other little side notes, little codexes laying around. I really think we should say get out of the doorway. That at least a couple of the dwarves were, you know, thinking about getting into this room while they were here, and, you know, the head Carta guy, he's like, don't worry about this room or these gears that we need. You know, we've got an operation that we're doing here, and of course one of the guys is like, I want to see what's behind that door, you know. These dwarves weren't trying to hear that, they wanted to loot. Okay, here's a little history of the, history and culture on Darktown. You'd really be familiar with Darktown if you played Origins, especially if you played a dwarf, oh, what do they call it? Not the noble, but the other one. Commoner? I think it's a commoner origin? Whatever. But you have your beginnings in Darktown. Darktown is essentially their gutter that you can't get out of. You know, once you're part of that, I guess, that caste, or once you're part of that that section of their society, then you're stuck there. Like, for life, and everyone that's ever born after you, unless you become, I don't know, a paragon or something. Paragons to dwarfs are basically human deities, more or less. Alright, good save point right here too, because this room is almost as bad as this room we were just in. Almost as bad as that Carta boss we just fought. The archers in here are going to be even worse because they have quite a bit more health. And I'm not going to say they hit harder. They hit about the same. All archers just hit too hard anyway. But once again, you'll want to get the archers out of the way. I'm hoping with a really high defense, when I do play a rogue, that if I can get my dexterity way the hell up there, that I can avoid some of these arrows. That'd be nice. Of course, get my range defense just way the hell up also. Tempted to really just concentrate on that. Screw fire and magic and all that other defense. Just give me range defense. It's the archers that are giving me the blues more than anything else. At least so far. I don't know. I'll get to some point later in the game and it'll be something else that'll probably be the bane of my existence. But that grappling chain is just so tactical. Screw the damage it does, the ability to take an archer or any light enemy out of his attack, and then even mages, right, out of their attack, bring them to your feet, stomp them in the face, and knock them to the ground long enough to hit them a few times. That's just invaluable. Okay. Blackwell needs to just hang out as long as he can. Keep this guy's attention for a while. He needs to drink a potion is what he needs to do. I've still got everybody set to where if we get down to 2 potions, they don't drink one. I think I'm going to switch that to 1. So there'll always just be 1 in reserve for me in an emergency. Ouch. Well, that round swing, that last one, he always gets me with that. Gets him to do it again. I'm staying clear this time. This guy may actually be a little tougher than the one earlier. I don't know. Might be the same. You know, anything over 1,000,000 hit points is it's all about the same anyway, right? Okay, but just if you can keep him off my mage and keep him off of Varric, then hopefully they can deal a decent amount of damage. I don't have Solus set up for DPS. Also playing on with Friendly Fire. You don't want a lot of the AoE spells active anyway. You know, Chain Lightning and all the good stuff. Fireballs, Immolate, all the cool spells. They're going to destroy your party more than anything else. I found that solo targeting enemies has been effective for the most part, as long as you manage the party right. And my playstyle, the way I'm figuring to work this, I'm basically playing my warrior like a rogue. A little less DPS, a little more survivability. That's really pretty much how it's boiling down. This guy dropped for me anyway. Darkspawn Teeth. That's something I can turn into a knave. Sweet. But having extra flanking damage, bonus flanking damage, that might actually be something to look into. I mean, considering I'm still in basically what's the tutorial part of the game, I mean, essentially, this game is so huge that there's going to be so much stuff to come, so many different, I don't know, abilities and buffs and things you can put on equipment and skills that I haven't even seen. I know there's classes to unlock. I did play a little bit of multiplayer until I realized that a lot of what you have available to you in multiplayer is kind of a spoiler for the skills. Oh, there we go. Amulet of Power and a upgrade for Bianca for the crossbow for Varric. Sweet. But yeah, I saw in multiplayer, and there's a Mosaic piece also. The second one, we did find another one upstairs earlier where we found the first gear. All right, so that's 2 Mosaic pieces and an Amulet of Power. But I saw enough in multiplayer to see that it was going to kind of spoil some of the skills that were going to be available later. I can't wait to see those classes unlock and then get to make that big decision on, well, you know, what do I want to be and which way do I want to go. I'm assuming that's going to happen because in Origins and Dragon Age 2 you had the same type of thing. You'd get some specialty that in Origins you had to find a trainer, and in Dragon Age 2 you essentially had to reach a certain level to unlock it. Then you had a point that you could spend in, you know, one thing or another. So I'm kind of curious how it's going to go in this. Alright, and that was the door we couldn't get in when we first got here. So we're essentially back at the entrance now. Alright, there's the bridge that we used to get in here, straight ahead. Loving the graphics here. Just more than loving it. It's just freaking amazing. Alright, lots of Drakestone just lying around. Notice that respawned. We were in here so long. Very cool. Alright, and what's that? There's a balcony. You know what? I'm just going to fast forward this real quick. Go down here and take a look. 1 coin pouch, and wow, that was a whole lot of climbing for nothing. I have a feeling there may be something going on here later in the game. One of those areas that if you return to it later, you know, when you normally wouldn't think to, that possibly there'd be some reward for doing so, some special monster to fight here, or some pathway open that wasn't open before to go someplace else. Never know. Alright, and that's essentially it. That is Valammar. Alright? And I'm going to get out of here, and I think I'm going to go mess around on the Storm Coast next. That's where I want to go. This is essentially just warming up for eventually doing a Let's Play on this. I haven't really decided. I don't know that I'd play a warrior again. I might start with a rogue and actually do an actual playthrough of the game with a rogue. But then again, I may experiment with both the other classes, then pick my favorite of the 3, and then come back and do it much later. I don't know. But thanks for watching, guys. And I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. If you want to catch the rest of my Inquisition videos up to this point, click the top box for a complete list of all my video playlists. Click the bottom box. And if you want to subscribe and support the Ninja Flips, hit that button right there over my head. All right? Leave a comment, share, like, all that good stuff. All right. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.